All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty profound, an idea that really challenges the most basic thing you think you know, who you are. What if that you feel like every single day isn't actually what you think it is?
So, the source material we're looking at today kicks off with this incredible paradox. The teaching has to use words and logic, tools of the mind, to point to something that's totally beyond the mind. It's kind of like pointing your finger at the moon, right? The finger isn't the moon, obviously, but it's the only way to show you where to look. And that really brings us to the central question here. It's an investigation that doesn't really promise a neat and tidy answer. Instead, it's a question that, instead of giving you an answer, might just dissolve the person asking it in the first place. Okay, so to even begin to get our heads around this, we have to start by looking at a problem. And it's a problem so huge, so fundamental, that we usually don't even see it. It's that constant, nagging feeling of being a separate person, a separate me. I mean, this feels like the most obvious thing in the world, doesn't it? I'm in here, inside my body, and the world is everything out there. Myself stops where my skin starts. But what if that's not a fact? What if it's just a habit, a deeply learned way of seeing things that might not be the whole truth? So this core belief, this assumption of being separate, our source material has a great name for it, the knot of the self. And the big idea here is that this one single unexamined belief, that's the root. That's where all our psychological suffering and anxiety really comes from. All right, so if this feeling of being separate is the problem, what do we do about it? Well, we've got to investigate it. Let's actually try to find this I. So let's really do this. Let's ask that question. Where does you end and the world begin? We take that boundary for granted, we think it's our skin, but if you look really, really closely, does it actually hold up? Okay, just think about it for a second. The air, one moment it's out there in the world, the next moment it's in here, as your breath. The food you eat literally becomes the cells of your body. The sunlight hitting your skin becomes the energy you run on. You see, you're not some static, fixed object. You're a process, a constant flowing exchange with everything around you. And here's the real kicker. Have you ever actually experienced an external world? Think about it. Every sight, every sound, every feeling, every thought, it's all appeared inside of your consciousness. You've never known a world out there. You've only ever known what appears in here, within your own awareness. A great way to think about this is the dream analogy. You know, when you're in a dream, you feel like a real person, the dream character, having totally real experiences. It's completely convincing. But then you wake up and you realize, oh, that character, it was just an appearance happening inside the dream itself. Well, what if the you that you feel like right now is just like that dream character? And this is something you can try for yourself right now. Try to look inward and find the I that's thinking these thoughts or feeling these feelings. Can you actually pin it down? You'll find it's like trying to catch a shadow. The closer you look for it, the more it disappears. You find thoughts, sure, but can you find a separate thinker behind them? Okay, so if we can't actually find a separate I, where does that leave us? We've sort of figured out what we aren't. So now, let's explore a new way of seeing things, a metaphor to help us understand what we might actually be. Yeah, after really looking, we come to this pretty shocking conclusion. That separate self, the main character in the story of our lives, the me we've always assumed was running the show, you just can't find it. It's not there as a solid, separate thing.
Which of course brings up the biggest question of all. If you're not this limited little person in a body, then what in the world are you?
And this is where we get this beautiful, brilliant metaphor. The idea is that you are the ocean, pretending to be a single wave. A wave is a distinct shape for a little while, right? It looks separate, but its reality, its actual substance, is nothing but the entire ocean. You're not the temporary wave. You are the whole ocean, just appearing as this wave for a moment. You know, this whole idea isn't new. It has a name. It comes from an ancient tradition. It's called Advaita. It's a Sanskrit word that literally means not two. And it's this teaching that reality is just one single, undivided thing. The awareness that's looking out of your eyes and the world that it sees, they aren't two separate things. It's all one.
Okay, let's go back to that old analogy of the rope and the snake because it explains this perfectly. The world isn't an illusion in the sense that it's not real. The rope is real. The illusion is our misperception of it. We see a rope in the dark and we project the idea of a snake onto it. The fear is real, but the snake was never there. In the same way, reality is the rope, and the separate self is the snake we project onto it.
Okay, this is all fascinating philosophy, but what does it actually mean for our lives? Like, on a Tuesday afternoon, why does any of this matter? Well, here's a really crucial distinction the source material makes: the difference between pain and suffering. Pain, that's just a raw sensation. It's a biological signal, and it's pretty much unavoidable. But suffering is the story our mind adds on top of the pain. It's the "this shouldn't be happening to me" part. And that's the key. This whole understanding doesn't promise you'll never feel pain again. That's not the goal. The promise is the end of suffering. Why? Because it shows you that the sufferer, that separate me who the story is happening to, is the actual illusion. And when that knot of the self starts to untie, even a little bit, life just changes. That constant, anxious voice checking in on me all the time starts to quiet down. You find yourself just engaging with life more directly. There's less hesitation, more spontaneity. And as that feeling of separation fades, you feel a deeper connection to everything. Even the most boring, ordinary stuff can start to feel kind of amazing.
So this really brings us to the big takeaway here.
The person you think you are, your personality, your memories, your body, it's all a temporary appearance. It's the wave. But what is it that's aware of that wave? And that's the real question. It's not a question that has a neat little answer for your brain to chew on. It's a question meant to point you back to the silent, mysterious, always present awareness that is looking out of your eyes at this very moment. What is that?